Hello, hi everyone. It's Sitesh here. So welcome to third day of this VBA automation. So yesterday we have seen that what are the basics data types we have and what is meant by variables and what are the rules we have in order to declare any variable, right? What are the constants we have? How to print a message in a message box, right? So these all the things we have seen. Today we will start with the basic concepts of the programming, which is called as an decision making statements. Okay, how the decision making statements help in any particular languages and how we can write the decision making statement codes in a VBA. Right. So these are the some basic techniques which we're going to see today. Okay. Now, in order to understand the decision making statements, we have if and else. Okay, which is a very famous decision making statements. Okay, in order to execute this conditions, okay, if I'm writing this particular decision making statements has been written by the keyword if and else keyword. Okay, now if any condition is there, okay, which is an if, and that condition is true, then inside the if block that all the statements will going to execute, right? And if this all the statements means if the condition is not true, so it will go into my compiler and my that execution will jump to the else block, and the statements in the else block will going to execute, right? So this is called as a decision making statements. Now we will see how the decision making statements just works with the VBA. Okay, so I'll suggest everyone have an Excel, so you can open an Excel with me and press Alt plus F11 in order to means open this call as an VB. Okay, now can you see here, this is my particular sheet. Now you can right click on the sheet 1 and start with a view code. Okay, now we are here, can you see, we are here with our particular window. This is the Visual Basic Editor window where we're going to write the code. So these are all the things we have already discussed, right? Now I'm creating one procedure, and that procedure name as an if example. Okay, you can take an if example and do the press enter. Now what I'm going to do, let's create dim. Suppose we have a marks. Okay, we have obtain marks, and that marks, and then we have a total marks. Okay, we have a total marks, and let's give that total marks as integer. This both marks has an integer, so let's set as an integer. Okay, let's initialize the value, that is obtain marks. Okay, let's initialize the value obtain marks equal to 100, and total marks we are initializing. Okay, just check your particular spelling mistakes. Okay, this spelling mistakes will going to give an error because it's a case sensitive. Now total marks is equal to 100, right? This both we have given. Now I'm going to write a condition. What condition? If my obtain marks, okay, if my obtain marks is equal to total marks. Okay, if my obtain marks is equal to total marks, and check these conditions also, that I have written this obtain marks equal to 100 and total marks equal to 100. Now if my obtain marks equal to total marks, okay, what I'm going to write, I'm going to print, wait, okay, I'm going to print, then what I can print like message box. Let's print on message box. Okay, and we can print like, okay, you can print anything like student obtain perfect number, right, or perfect score, student obtain perfect score, or else, and if, okay, and if, okay, and if, let's do the debug dot print. We're going to use the print method, and that print will going to print the results. Suppose we are printing results published. Okay, so this I have written. Okay, you don't have to save this code actually. Now you already know that in order to execute the code, you're going to click on F5, or else you can click here also, okay, in the run button. Now if I'll hit enter, okay, if I'll press this run, what happened? Definitely you can see my obtained marks is 100, right? And my total marks is 100. Now the condition is that if my obtained marks equal to total marks, if both the marks are same, then this message will going to get printed. Otherwise, this message will going to get printed, right? Now if I'll run this, can you see student obtained perfect score, right? Student obtained the perfect score. Now what happened if I'll write here not equal to, okay, student marks is not equal to it. Actually here we can't write like this way, okay. Let's first run this one, okay, and okay. Now what happens? Now condition is 2. If condition is 2, that is obtained marks equal to total marks, right? In other languages what happens, in order to do the this is not equal to, you can use the exclamation mark, so it becomes the not equal to, okay. But in here, which is called as in VBA, okay, we don't use this operator, we mostly use, okay, equal to, and let's set this variable as 125, okay. Now run this and see. Now so if I'm running this, you see that means this obtained marks and total marks is not equal, okay. Now we have ended our particular here only. Now in order to show the different message with the help of else, okay, in order to show the different message with the help of else, what we can do, we can write the else block, and inside the else block, after the else block, you can print as message box what you can, students score is not that much good, not that much good, okay, you can score this one, not that much good, right? So this is our particular scenario. Now if I'll run this, you can say student score is not that much good. Why? Because this is not equal, like obtained marks and total marks is not equal, so it printed this else block. Now what happened if we have seen the mostly if condition with the else condition. Now also let's take a different, you can say, procedure, and I'm creating if else, okay, with a different scenario, if else examples. Now here I'm going to write again dim, okay, dim obtain marks, then after that passing marks, okay, and then you already know this both are integer, so integer, and then let's write our obtain marks, okay, let's obtain marks, then obtain marks is I'm setting as 354 or means anything like 50, then passing marks I'm setting as 50 only, okay, let's set both. And if I write if my obtained marks, just be sure about your spellings mistake guys, if, okay, now if my obtained marks is greater than equal to passing marks, okay, if my obtained marks is greater than equal to passing marks, right? So then what you have to do, let's print the message, and you can print like student has passed, right, has passed the exam, right? Or else if this is not true, else it means what, if I am writing message box student did not clear the exam, you can write student did not clear the exams, right? Now we have written. Now you can set as end if, in order to close the if condition we can use the end if. Now let's run this particular procedure. If I run this, what has happened, like student has passed the exam, because it clearly says that If obtained marks and passing marks is both the same, and obtained marks is equal to passing marks, so definitely it is, you can say, pass the exam. Now if I'll write only greater than, okay, not an equal to, I'll write only greater than, not equal to. So when I'll run this, it will going to throw this particular message, which is called as an else block. Now if I'll run this here, can you see student did not clear the exam, right? Can you see here, X else block has been get executed, right? So this is called as an if else conditions. Okay, this is also called as if else condition or decision making statements, where if my condition is true, then if my if condition is true, definitely my this inside the code, whatever inside the if statement I have written, that will going to execute. Or if my if condition is not true, then else block is going to get executed, right? Now sometimes what happens, you have a multiple conditions, right? If this has been happened, then if this has been done, then again inside the if there is an if, inside the else there is an if, right, which is called as a nested if else statement. Okay, if that type of condition occurs, so we use the nested if else conditions or nested if else concepts, where if my condition is one is true, then go to inside the one if statement block. If my condition one is not true, it is false, then go inside the different if block or different else block. Okay, so in this way. And when we are taking, suppose let's say an example, I'm taking an example, sub if, you can say nested if else, okay, nested if else. Now what I'm writing here, let's create our marks. Okay, obtain marks I'm writing in short form, or let's write, okay, 10 marks, then passing mark, okay, and this both has an integer, you already know, right? Now obtain marks, you can set to anything, like 70 I'm setting, and passing marks I'm setting as 35. Okay, passing marks I'm setting as 35. Now I'm using means nested if else statements, okay, multiple if and else statements. Now if my obtained marks, okay, if my obtained marks is less than passing marks, okay, if my obtained marks is less than passing marks, okay, and let's set the then condition, like I can set message box simply, it's a common one, like student will not going to clear the exam, so student did not clear the exams, right? Now after if, I can set as else if, okay, else if this is not true, then go to else if, and in else if I'm putting the condition obtain marks is greater than equal to 60, greater than equal to 60, okay. Then what is the condition? Condition is what? Message box, and we can write student has cleared the exam, right? Student has cleared the exam, right? Now if this if statement, okay, this one, this statement and this statement is not means correct, okay, the condition is not correct, then what I can set in else block, and else block I am setting as message box, like student passed, okay, with a second class. I can set this thing, okay, you can write anything you want, you can create a different means scenarios and different things you can take and you can use it. Now I'm ending the if statements, and if, okay, so this is the nested if else procedure, okay. You can means give a multiple statements here also, like If obtained marks is greater than equal to 60, then student has cleared the exam. And else if obtained marks is greater than equal to 70, it means that student is, you can set here also, means after writing the message box you can set here like else if obtained marks, like in this way, is greater than equal to 70. Okay, then you can print as message box like student has obtained first class, right? This you can print like in this way, right? Now if I run this procedure, see what you're going to see. Like student has cleared the exam. It's a simple one. Like obtained marks is our 70 and passing marks is our 35, right? Now student has just simply we clear the exams. This first statement has been get executed because my obtained marks, can you see, student has cleared the exam, it is greater than 760. See, my obtained marks is greater than 70, so this has statement has been get executed. Okay, now after running this statements, can you see this statement has been get executed. Okay, and when this statement gets executed, it will going to end here only. Okay, my compiler, well, execution will going to get stopped in this place only. Okay, in this mess, can you see here only my execution will going to get stopped. Okay, it's not going to get further. If I'm setting the break here and if I'm running the program, see, now this has been get executed, student has cleared the exam, right? Now what happened if I'm setting my break here till here, okay, and when I run this, see, this part has been get executed, right? Now see this, got it? So this is called as a nested if else statements. This is called what? Nested if else statement. Okay, got it everyone? So now what happened, now suppose we are using this nested if else. Okay, now the condition is very small, like we have to decide the grade of a student, right? And that grade of a student must be greater than 60, 70. If it is greater than 70, then he must clear the exam, he has obtained the first class, second class. So here the statements and the conditions is just, you can say, within a short part, alright, within a condition, like 2 to 3 conditions we have, so we are executing the else if statements on nested if else. But when what happens when I have more than 5 conditions, 7 condition, right? In order to execute the more than 5 to 7 condition, it is a little bit tricky, means the code which we are writing looks like a kind of a messy one, right? It looks a little bit messy. So in order to avoid that, you can say, messiness and complexity, okay, we use the concepts called as an select case concepts. Okay, select case concept, instead of writing the nested if else, instead of writing the nested if else. Okay, now what happens in this select and case statements, we're going to put one condition, and that condition having several cases. Okay, and if that condition matches any one of the case, okay, that case will going to get executed. Whatever the statements are written, that statement inside that case, it will going to get executed. Now in order to see this practically, let's get one procedure, and I am like doing as a select case example. Just select case example. Now in select case example, now see how it's done. Suppose I'm getting one variable dim mark as integer, okay, and let's take input from the user. In order to take input from the user in a VBA, we use the one method called as an input box, okay, just to print the particular output to the message box, we use the concept called as an input box in order to take the any kind of an string, any kind of an a number, or any kind of an input from the user. We use the input box. So let's use the input box. Okay, I'm using the input box here, and that input box I'm writing, like you can write anything like enter total marks. Okay, enter total marks. Right, we have entered our total marks. Now what happened, I'm selecting the case. Now select case marks. Can you see the highlight means select case marks? Now here, suppose my case is 100. Okay, if my condition case is 100, it means that message box and it is printed like perfect score. Right, it means if my condition is 100, okay, it means what, my message box is printing the message box as a perfect score. Now if my case is just between like 60 to 99, like 60 to 99, what is printing, message box like first class. Right, now if my case is 50 to 59, okay, what is printing, is printing the message box like second class. Okay, like second class. Now if my case is 35 to 49, I'm just selecting the random statement, guys. Okay, you can select on your own. So just this is for example how the select and case works. I'm selecting as a random. Now 35 to 49, it means this, that student has been passed. Now if my case is just like case from 1 to 34, this one from 1 to 34, it means that my message box, okay, my message box like not clear the exam, because we already know marks which is before the 35 or less than 35, this means that particular candidate or student is failed, so not clear. Right, now my particular statement is what, case 0, case 0. So message box, what is going to print, like score 0, right, score 0. And at last, if none of the cases is matching, okay, if none of the cases is matching, then I'm going to execute the else block. Okay, case else, and I can write here like message box, and inside that did not attend the examination. Simple, right? Then the examination, right? Simple, guys. Now we can end our select also. Okay, let's end our select and let's run this. So this is our basically a simple select case program. Okay, as you can see, I have a multiple condition. Now this particular program you can also write with the help of this nested if else, if you see here. But what happens while writing the nested if else, it becomes a little bit complex, right? Because see, if I'm writing, if my obtained marks, if my marks is equal to 100, then perfect score. Now else if my marks is 16 is greater than or means 60, marks is greater than 60 and marks is less than 99, then first class. If my marks is 50 and less than 99, 59, then second class. Now then else if, then else if, then else if, then else if, it becomes little bit trickier. Now we have to close this else, then this else, right? So this is little bit complicated in order to execute this type of particular statements or this type of code. So for that particular purpose, we use the select and case statement, right, which will help to just modify our nested if else and reduce the complexity of a code, right? If I'll run this, now see what is telling, enter the total marks, which how many marks you want to enter. Suppose you are entering 25, or let's suppose we are entering 80 for the timing. Now click OK. that first class, right? I'm entering first class. Now again run this code and let's check it out. Now I'm just typing 40, like pass. I have been passed, right? 40, and 40 is between the 35 to 49, it means pass. Now I'll print 0, like score 0. Now what I'll print what I'll print, suppose you can print like you're giving an integer, means not integer, it means did not attend the examination. Okay, let's I'm writing 101, did not attend the examination. Can you see 101? The moment I'm writing 101, it means that none of the exit cases has been get executed or matches with the 101, so it has been executed the else statement, right? Did not attend the examination. So in this way this select and case statement works. That is right. I hope you understand this one, this concepts, this select and case examples, right? Now suppose in order to see this particular selecting case with the proper example, we can build a small, you can say a simple application we can build here with the help of a VBA, okay, which is called as a calculator. Let's build a simple calculator, you can say calculator application. Now suppose I'm creating, and this should be private. Okay. We'll going to discuss this, guys, what is mean by private and public, why I'm setting this one. Okay, now give the name like calculator. Okay, and let's see it. Now in order to use this calculator differently, calculator require plus, that is addition, minus, that is subtraction, then into, that is multiplication, then divide or division or ratio or modulo or several other operators we have. But the basic four operate like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, right? So with the help of the select case statement, we're going to use the calculator, we're going to build the calculator. So let's create our variable name as, you can say, number 1, you can give number 1 and you can give number 2. Of course they both are integer, as integer. Now of course we require one more variable which is called as an operator, right? So operator as, and that operator is mostly in the string. Now in number 1, what happened in number 1, let's give an input box, and that input box contain, like we can set enter first number, right? Enter first number, right? Now I can set number 2 input box, enter second number, right? Enter first number, enter second number. Now next we have to require the operator also, right? We have to enter the operator also. So input box, and we can write enter operator, right? Enter the operator. Now we're going to use the select statement, right? So let's use our particular condition, select case operator, and we are dealing with the cases. First case will be our plus, Now message box, let's write the message box, and you can write like sum of, okay. In order to use the variables inside the message box, so we have to use the ampersand operator. Okay, number one and okay guys, you can give little bit spaces in order to avoid a little bit confligency, and number 2. is number 1 and number 2 is, and again number 1 1 plus number 2, right? Number 1 plus number 2, right? Okay, wait, we have been encountered some kind of an error here. Okay, sum of number 1 and number 2. Just give not any kind of in space, is taking errors. We can avoid the spaces, right? Now here is minus. Okay, again message box, and I can write in message board like difference of number 1 and number 2, number 1 number 2 is set number 1 minus number 2. Okay, this way. Again same kind of an errors. This must be spaces between this ampersand, right? Must be some spaces. Now next case, guys, we can take this particular cases and we can copy this. Let's paste it here. Plus minus multiplication and division. So we have to use the here product of. So I'm just copy pasted that cases statement here, and everything will be same. Just we have to execute this logic, and here I want to set as an division. Division number 1 number 2, and use this operator. Now all the cases has been executed, right? At last we have know which case we have to write, like S block, and inside the S block we're going to write message box like operator is not valid. If compiler just sees any other operator other than this plus minus star and this division, so it will going to throw this message box operator is not valid. Now let's end our select statement and let's execute this in the program. If I'm running this program here, what is telling? Enter the first number, right? So I'm entering my 12. Now enter the second number. I'm entering as 12. Okay, enter the operator. Which operator I want to perform? I want to perform plus. See, the sum of 12 and you can say sum of 12 and 12 is 24. Can you see here? Right, sum of 12 and 12 is 24. So I guess everyone will see it. Let's give a little bit spaces in order to avoid little bit confusion. Right. Now let's run this. Okay, now let's run this. Now run this. Can you see? Enter the first number. Suppose I'm giving as 10. Second number I'm giving as 20. Operator I want to multiply. Now see, the product of 10 and 20 is 200. So we have built our a mini calculator with the help of select and case statement. Right? So I guess everyone have understand how we have built our all the particular statement. Now suppose run this again, and I'm giving as any two numbers. It's not necessary that it will going to show me this only number only, right? And okay, wait, I haven't given any kind of an proper input. Now enter the operator. Other than this, I'm entering this modulo operator. Now what, see, operator is not valid. Can you see the last statement has been get executed, right? So this is called as an select and case statement with the help of VBA. So I guess everyone have understand. Next, we can use the concepts of array. Okay, we're going to see the concept of array, how the array has been worked and how the array works with a VBA. That we're going to learn. Now you already know the concept of variable. Okay, now if I want to store some number, and suppose that number is I want to store in some variable, I want to store the 10, so I'm storing in some variable name as an x, so x storing as a 10 number. Now what happened if I wanted to store around, I'm storing one number 10 in that variable. Now if what happened, I wanted to store suppose more than one number, like 5 number I want to store. So if I want to store 5 numbers, I wanted to display it, it means that I'm getting a 5 new variable. Okay, that will be fine. Okay, we are creating the 5 new variable according to you, because number is so small. Now what happened, I want to store around more than 100 integers or 100 numbers in a one variable. Can it be possible? Can it possible with a traditional method like storing each number in a different variable and I'm printing it? Okay, it will going to take lots of time, and after taking the lots of time, what happened, it will going to give you the output a very means in a, you can say, messy way, means that code which you're going to write is not a good practice for the good coding programmers or for the good VBA automators. Okay, so to avoid this particular concepts, we have one concept called as an array. Okay, now if I create array and I specify that length of an array, that it should execute this much only, and means I want to store the number from 1 to 100, so my array will going to contain from 1 to 100. And if suppose my array wants to work with a just it want to store like 500 till 600 or till 1000, so I'm going to use the thousands, 3000, 4000, whatever number I want to store. Okay, that array will going to store for me that a number of numbers which I want to do. Right, now second thing is that this is the first thing, like we are creating an array and we are declaring it. Second thing is that we can create a dynamic array also. There's a concept called as a dynamic array. What happens in dynamic array, suppose user want to enter the data or user wants to store the data at the time of runtime when I'm running the program. Okay, at that time user want to store the number, so that is called as a dynamic array. Okay, that is called as a dynamic array. Now we're going to see how this array will works with a VBA, right? Let's see how the array works in a. So we can create a different procedures. Name this procedure as sub array example. Okay, now see, suppose, okay, in order to declare the array, in order to create the array, we have a syntax called as suppose array name Okay, you are giving some array name like suppose first quarter. First quarter you are giving, and you should specify the bracket from where to where you want to store the array number. So from 0 to, so suppose I want to store from 0 to 2, and array indexes always starts from 0. Okay, this is very important, right? That array indexes in other programming language always starts from 0. Index means is storing position where I am storing that element, that is as the index. So it is starting from 0 to n minus 1. Now if you want to store, means you want to start the particular array indexes, so you have to use the method called as a base method to set the base as in 1 or 2 from where you want to start the array, where you want to start the means storing the elements in the array. So for the time being we are avoiding that base things, so we are just focusing on creating the array. So from 0 to 2, okay, I'm creating from 0 to 2 as a string because I want to store as a string. Okay, now what happened, first quarter at 0 position I'm storing as January, right? Now again the first quarter, so to avoid the little bit of typingness we can do the copy pasting, and at one position what I'm specifying, at one position I'm storing as February. Now at second position I'm storing as March. Now what happened, can I store my particular April in third position? Definitely no. Why? Because I have specified that my values and my piece of information which I want to store, it should be between 0 to 2. Okay, it should be between 0 to 2. So 0, 1 and 2, only 3 values I can store in this particular array. If I'll store, means if I use like 0 to 13, right, so it is giving me the 12 values, all the 12 months like January, February, March, April, May, June, like in this way. This I have said to you, array indexes start from 0 to n minus 1. N is my number, so in the number minus 1. If I want to store the 3, definitely I have to specify the 2 numbers. If I want to store 5, definitely I want to specify here n minus 1, like 6, right? Now let's print this message box, and I can print like first quarter in calendar is, okay, first quarter in the calendar is at the rate first quarter at first quarter 0, then again use the at rate, again percent, I guess second quarter, sorry, second quarter, and again you can use a percent third quarter, right? Now we can run this particular thing, you can see the output like first quarter in the calendar is January, February, March. Can you see? First quarter in the calendar is January, February, March, right? So in this way the array concepts has been get worked, right? Now if you want to use the second quarter, then you can use the second quarter, use the means different the first quarter you have been executed, you can take as in second quarter, like how, same, nothing else. You can copy this code, you can just paste it here, or you can create a different procedure, okay, and you can write it, right? Now you can specify here only like dim second quarter, you can specify like second quarter, You can also work with the numbers if you guys want to store as a calendar second quarter. And if you want, don't have to specify the basis starting index. Okay, if you're not specifying the starting index also, the 0, this VBA will going to take as a starting index with a 0 only. Okay, so it means it will going to consider that default index is 0, so it will going to start with the 0. Okay, if you want to specify, you can specify like 1 to 2, like in this way. So but I'm keeping as a this much only. Now January, February, March, April, we can set to May, and we can set to May के बाद we can set to May, June, right? And 0, 1, 2, everything will be same as string, everything will be same. And message box, what we can do here, just we have to do with the second quarter, and let's copy this second quarter, paste it here, and paste it here, in order to avoid any kind of an unnecessary errors. Okay, next, right, done. So you can print it like how you can print it, like in this way. Now run this. First quarter in the calendar is January, February, March, and second quarter in the calendar is April, May, and June, right? In this way you can create the third quarter, you can specify. Now see, I'll show you an example in third quarter how you can specify with a an array with a starting index. Here I can specify like from 13 to 15. I want to specify from 13 to 15. 13 to 15 I am specifying as a string. So June, July, July, and here I am setting as August, and here I am setting as September. Okay, this will be your third quarter, I guess. This will be your third quarter. Got it? Again, same, in order to avoid any kind of a mistake when we are dealing with the variables. Third quarter, but the position will going to get changed, I guess, guys. How? Now here you can to set at 13, here you are setting as 14, here you are setting as 15, right? So let's take this, and in second quarter you can print it here, in third quarter you can print here, and again third quarter you can print it here. Now in September, October, November, December, will be your fourth quarter, right? See, we have printed. Now we are ready to print this third quarter in the calendar, right? Third quarter in the calendar. Now let's print this. First quarter is January, February, March. Second quarter calendar is April, May, June. And third quarter in the calendar is July, August, and September. Now at last quarter like October, November, December, you can print it on your own, right? So this is the complete calendar we have been made with the help of an array. Understand, everyone? So we have seen the concepts of an array, right? Like how the array can be worked. But tomorrow we will see the concepts of looping. Okay, how the loop works and how the dynamic array works, how we can connect with a range and worksheets. Okay, so for today, just we are just calling it today. Now you can practice all these things by watching the videos again and again. Okay, and you can improve and you can make your own codes if you want, with the help of these statements, whatever things you have learned till now. Okay, all the basic things, and you can create a one small applications. Okay, so guys, we are stopping now. Okay, bye bye everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Now, if you wanted to learn in deep this all the VBA automations, you can connect to Coachx.Live. Definitely, they're going to help you at the best level. Okay, bye bye, guys.